the silos that you mentioned earlier are a big one, as I'm sure you anticipated. Interdisciplinary cross-functional teams are increasingly the operational reality of banking. We are getting much better at creating those in a go-forward basis, a little harder in existing institutions because people haven't quite worked out how to realign incentives. So if you're paid to not cooperate with a team across the whole, how do you shift those incentives? But it is absolutely possible. So interdisciplinarity, that collaboration, those smaller cross-functional teams that allow for an organization that moves faster. It doesn't just say it's agile and then it's agile in its own silo, but gets slowed down between silos. That organizational piece is huge. Risk and compliance changing is one of the biggest things. In the organizations where risk and compliance have understood that the world is different, therefore the risks are different, and the way we mitigate them is different. An inspired risk and compliance function that truly understands the digital world and the dangers in it and doesn't try to shoehorn what we used to know into the new world. That is a massive accelerant to the work you do for two reasons. One is that your old risk and compliance team will slow you down because they don't understand. And they will also leave you exposed to the things that they don't understand and therefore are not afraid of. Whereas a digitally savvy risk and compliance team will not slow you down with things that are unnecessary, but will keep you focused on the things that are important. So absolutely vital, and these folks are worth their weight in gold. The last bit that people need to realize, and that's in some ways the hardest one, and I know I've talked about it at events before, so if you've heard me speak, you've probably heard me speak about this. The digital economy doesn't carry the same pricing structures and economic models than the analog economy. So as a bank, particularly a legacy bank moving into a digital mindset, one of the things that needs to change alongside everything else, alongside structure, talent, remuneration, technology, leadership, as if all of that wasn't enough, it's not just how the product is delivered that changes, but also what the product costs. And that is true in retail, institutional, transaction, and investment banking. When you render a lot of your services digitally, the price point, the profit margin, it's much more transparent, and it's lower. It's lower. There is no two ways about it. And one of the hardest things for a traditional bank to stomach is that they will go through a journey of spending so much time, money, and energy on uplifting their infrastructure only to find their price point reduced. What I would say to this is that as you do all of that work, the footprint of your cost goes down, your unit economics go down. So actually the profitability of the infrastructure, if you stop carrying your mainframes with you, will stay the same at worst or go up at best, and actually it can and should go up. But that won't happen if you're trying to square the circle and you try to render digital services on your mainframe, which is what most traditional banks are doing. And of course, the economics of that are disastrous.